Marcus was 32, recently divorced, and had just taken a job cleaning at an old public high school outside of Knoxville. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid. His shift was from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 nights a week. The place was empty, just him, a floor buffer, and a walkie-talkie in case of emergencies. The building was huge. Parts of it dated back to the 1920s, and it still had original brickwork, wood-paneled walls, and old boiler rooms that hadn't been updated in decades. For the first few weeks, it was peaceful. Marcus listened to the radio, cleaned classrooms, and stayed away from the basement. But then, things started happening. It began one night around 2 a.m. Marcus was mopping the west hallway when he heard a scraping noise coming from room 108, an old storage room no one used anymore. He opened the door. Nothing, just dust and broken desks. He shrugged it off. Mice, maybe. But the next night, it happened again. Same time, same sound. A dragging noise, like furniture being pulled across concrete, followed by a knock on the wall. He checked again. Empty. The air in the room felt colder than the rest of the building. By the end of the week, the knocking had spread. Now he heard it in multiple rooms, always between 2 and 3 a.m. Always from the walls. He joked with the daytime staff about it, but most just gave him weird looks. Only one person, an old history teacher named Mrs. Keene, pulled him aside and said, "They never told you about the fire, did they?" Apparently, back in 1961, a teacher and 2 students had died in a small fire in the West Wing. Officially, it was an electrical accident, but rumor had it, someone had been locked in the storage room, and wasn't found until days later. Marcus didn't believe in ghosts, but he did believe in catching weirdos or vandals, so he brought a cheap night vision camera and set it up in room 108, facing the far wall. The next morning, he reviewed the footage. Nothing for the first 2 hours, but at exactly 2:14 a.m., the camera shook slightly. Then, 3 sharp knocks from inside the wall, and then, something pushed out from behind the plaster, like fingers pressing against fabric. No face, no words, just 5 long indentations, like a hand, stretching the wall outward, and vanishing. Marcus didn't go back in that room again. The following week, things escalated. Lights flickered in the gym. His floor buffer turned on by itself. The old loudspeaker system, disconnected for years, crackled to life and whispered his name. Marcus. He froze. All the classroom doors slammed shut at once. He ran to the office to call 911, but the line was dead. His phone, dead. Then the intercom whispered again. Room 108. He left the building and didn't return until sunrise. The school offered to reassign him to a daytime position, but Marcus refused. He wasn't going to be run off by some old legend. One last shift, he told himself. That night, everything was quiet, until 2:12 a.m. The fire alarm went off, but there was no fire. He walked the west wing. Room 108's door was wide open. Inside, someone had scrawled, "Let me out," on the wall in charcoal, dozens of times. And at the center of the floor was a pile of teeth. Human teeth. Marcus turned to run, but the door slammed shut behind him. He screamed, pounded the door. It wouldn't budge. Then, the knocking started, from the wall behind him. Slow, rhythmic, getting faster. Then a voice, high-pitched, hollow, not human. "I see you, I see you, I see you." A face pushed out from the wall, skinless, black-eyed, mouth stretched open. Marcus fainted. They found him the next morning in the hallway. His hair had turned partially gray. He quit the job and moved 3 states away. Room 108 has been sealed ever since. The school says the video footage from that night was corrupted, but every year on the anniversary of the fire, the janitor's closet door is found open, and the floor buffer is running, on its own.